Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive Podcast. I'm Emma, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host, John.
Hey there, folks. It's great to have you with us. Today, we're talking about a show that took the world by storm in its first season. Squid Game. Season 2 has just been released, and critics are divided. Some find it trivial, while others say it's still as engaging as ever. We're diving into the big question. Is Squid Game Season 2 worth the hype, or has it lost its touch?
Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to the Deep Dive Podcast on YouTube and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. We've got a lot of exciting content coming your way.
If you enjoy what you hear today, don't forget to like and share this episode with your friends. Your support means everything to us.
Now, let's jump into the world of Squid Game Season 2. Is it trivial or engaging? Let's find out.
All right, buckle up, everyone, because today we're taking a deep dive into all the buzz surrounding Squid Game Season 2. You wanted the inside scoop without having to wade through a mountain of articles and online opinions, so we've got you covered. We've rounded up a collection of reviews from critics, fan reactions from Reddit and Facebook, all those juicy bits of info. So consider this your one-stop shop for all things Squid Game Season 2.
It's interesting because with a show like Squid Game, it's not just about entertainment, is it? The first season really struck a nerve, got people talking about some pretty raw societal issues. So these reactions to Season 2, I think, tell us just as much about the show itself as they do about us as viewers, how we feel about things like inequality or even, how stories are told in this day and age.
That's such a good point. I've definitely noticed a lot of online chatter about whether the season can live up to the first. It's like the sequel curse is a real thing, especially with a show that had such a huge impact.
Oh, absolutely. Sequels, especially after a phenomenon like Squid Game, they face an uphill battle. The element of surprise, that's gone, right? Expectations are sky high, and viewers are primed to pick apart every single detail.
Yeah, and some viewers didn't hold back. I saw one Reddit comment that said, the events were too obvious, the foreshadowing was shallow, the plot twists were also obvious, their voting order was obvious, the show was way too obvious. Ooh, sounds like they weren't mincing words.
Yeah, that sense of predictability can be a real challenge for sequels. The creators, they're not the underdogs anymore. They're dealing with the pressure of a global audience, and let's be real, there might be studio interference, commercial interests at play now. It's a different game altogether. Right.
And some critics, like in 20 Minutes, pointed out that the show lost some of its edge. That ironic and cruel tone that the first season had. It seemed to be replaced with a more serious, almost overly political tone.
It's an interesting observation. It makes you wonder if there was a conscious decision to maybe appeal to a broader audience, But then you have publications like Variety praising the second season, specifically for its exploration of those deeper themes like capitalist exploitation. So it's a mixed bag for sure.
It definitely is. So I guess the big question is, are sequels destined to disappoint? Or can they genuinely bring something new and exciting to the table? What do you think?
Hold on to that thought because we're going to unpack some of the specific critiques and praises. One thing that kept popping up, both from reviewers and viewers, was the pacing of this season. Several critics, like those from Tellurama and The Guardian, they found the first few episodes, a bit slow, a bit meandering.
Now, slower pacing isn't inherently bad. It can create space for deeper character development, But with a show like Squid Game, where tension and suspense are so central, a slower start can be risky. It kind of disrupts that buildup of anticipation. And yeah, some viewers might feel like those early episodes are just filler.
I can see that. Some fans just want to get straight to the games. Totally. But, not everyone minded the slow burn. In that 20 Minutes piece, there was a Korean drama fan, Elaine. He said the deliberate pacing actually made the return to the games more impactful, more enjoyable. So it really depends on what you as a viewer are looking for.
That's so true. It's fascinating how the same element can have such polarizing effects on the audience.
Right. It highlights that subjectivity, that personal experience. What matters most is how that pace impacts your overall enjoyment, especially in a genre that thrives on suspense and keeping you on the edge of your seat.
Okay, so let's talk about something that always sparks debate. The characters. And this time around, it's the new batch of characters introduced in Season 2. Let's just say the reactions were mixed, to put it mildly.
Yeah, new characters, they always face an uphill battle, especially when they're joining a story with established figures. It's tough to live up to those expectations to carve out their own space.
Absolutely. Some fans, like this one Reddit user, were Frustrated with the main character, they felt he lacked cunning and that ability to manipulate others. They wanted to see more complexity, more strategic thinking from the players. And then on the flip side, you've got comments on 20 Minutes criticizing some of the new characters, calling the rapper, the mother and son just caricatures, even complaining about Netflix quotas. Yikes. It seems like people had strong feelings.
Even those criticisms, though, they raise some important points about representation and how it's handled in storytelling. Are diverse characters being introduced in a way that feels authentic and nuanced? Or is it just ticking boxes? That's a valid question.
The Le Mans Review touches on this. They praise the show's artistic direction, but they criticize how Season 2 handled political polarization, saying it felt heavy-handed.
Right. It's a delicate balance. You want to address these societal nuances, but it has to be done with finesse. Viewers are sensitive to anything that feels forced or inauthentic.
So, back to you, dear listener. What did you think of the new characters? Did they enhance the story, or did they fall flat? It's a question worth pondering as we continue our deep dive.
Welcome back to our Squid Game deep dive.
So far, we've covered a lot of ground, sequel expectations, pacing, those new characters. But I think it's time to get to the heart of the show, what makes it so captivating, and let's be honest, so disturbing, the games themselves.
Right, and of course all those ethical and philosophical questions they bring up. Because these aren't just games, right? They're metaphors, I think, reflecting those power structures, those systems of exploitation that exist in our world. It makes you think.
For sure. And while Squid Game is fictional, the way people react to these games, it says a lot about how we view things like competition, morality, even the nature of entertainment itself.
Let's go back to that point about the violence in Season 2. Le Parisian called it inherent to the concept, and I think they have a point. But it raises the question, how much is too much? Where do you draw the line between thought-provoking and just gratuitous?
That's a tough one. I mean, it's clear that some viewers are drawn to that shock value, that adrenaline rush of watching life or death situations play out. But for others, it can be a turnoff, maybe even exploitative. It's a tricky balance to strike.
Absolutely. And that's where the art of storytelling comes in, the really effective examples of this genre. And I think Squid Game's first season did this really well. They use violence strategically. It's not gratuitous. It's about using those intense, uncomfortable moments to force us to confront something, like difficult truths about ourselves, about human nature, the choices we make when the pressure's on.
Like that red light, green light scene from Season 1. Terrifying, yes, but it was so much more than that. It was a powerful statement about obedience, conformity, how societal pressure can dehumanize us.
Exactly. It stuck with you long after the episode ended because it went beyond just the spectacle of violence. It had that deeper message, that underlying social commentary.
Right, and I think that's what a lot of viewers are wondering about Season 2. Can they keep pushing boundaries with the violence without it becoming desensitized? Can they maintain that balance between shock and substance? It'll be interesting to see what they do in Season 3.
It's a crucial question, for sure. But let's switch gears for a second and talk about something a bit more meta. The fandom.
Oh yeah, the Squid Game fandom. It's intense. The memes, the theories, the endless debates about who'd survive, who'd betray who. It's like everyone's playing their own version of the game online.
And that in itself says something about the show's impact. Right? It's more than just a TV series. It's a full-blown cultural phenomenon, and people are engaging with it on so many different levels.
They're creating art, writing stories, building communities around it. It's really remarkable.
And those communities, they don't always agree. Some fans love Season 2, the new characters, the deeper mythology, even that cliffhanger. And then others felt let down. Repetitive, predictable. Some even said the creator sold out.
It's like those drastically different reactions we saw to the first season are playing out all over again.
It just shows the power of art, right? It provokes those strong, often conflicting reactions. It sparks debate. And ultimately, its meaning is shaped by the individual experiencing it. There's no right or wrong way to feel about Squid Game Season 2.
Except for maybe that one comparison I saw online to Joker 2. Come on, people, you had to know that was going to start a war.
Okay, that one did make me chuckle. But seriously, I think what we're seeing with these reactions is that Squid Game Season 2, it's complex, layered, it's been praised for its ambition, that willingness to tackle difficult social issues head-on, the stunning visuals. But it's also been criticized for pacing, character development, the violence, as we discussed. It's not a simple show.
And that's what makes it so interesting to discuss. It's not passive entertainment. It's a show that demands your attention, invites you to think critically, analyze, debate. It's an invitation to engage with those complex ideas and face those sometimes uncomfortable truths about ourselves and the world around us.
So where does that leave you, dear listener?
Has Squid Game Season 2 lived up to your expectations?
Regardless of your answer, it's clear that this show has tapped into something powerful. It's sparking conversations about wealth inequality, the role of entertainment, the power of individual choice in systems that seem designed to control us.
And those conversations are just getting started. We've really only scratched the surface. What are your thoughts? What are your predictions for Season 3?
We want to hear from you. Join the conversation online. Share your theories. Keep those critical thinking skills sharp. Because in Squid Game, just like in real life, the game never really ends.
Oh, I like that. We'll be back with part 3 where we'll explore some of those fan theories and speculate wildly about what's in store for Gi-hun and the others.
We might be hesitant to admit it, but we're all hooked, aren't we?
Stay tuned. All right, we're back, ready to jump headfirst into those fan theories and wild speculation about where Squid Game could take us next.
Because, even if Season 2 left some of us with some unanswered questions, let's be real, we're all still hooked on this twisted, captivating world. We got to know what happens.
We do. And speaking of needing answers, that cliffhanger ending. Oh boy, the internet is on fire. Everyone's trying to be a detective, connect the dots, predict the next crazy twist.
It's amazing, isn't it? How those fan theories, they often, reflect what we're worried about in the real world.
Right.
I've seen a lot of theories about the games being this metaphor for AI, artificial intelligence taking over.
Oh, wow.
The front man and those game masters, they're like this cold, calculating force taking away our choices.
That's a bit creepy, actually. And it makes sense, right? So many people are afraid of being replaced, becoming, irrelevant in a world that's changing so fast.
Absolutely. And it's not just AI. There are those theories about the political side of it, too. The games are a commentary on the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer.
Well, the show's creators haven't been shy about critiquing capitalism, that's for sure, especially in Season 2. So it makes sense that viewers are drawing those connections to real-world problems.
It makes total sense. It's like a way of understanding those anxieties, making sense of a world that can feel really unfair sometimes.
It's a way to cope. But, okay, we can't forget about all the theories about the characters themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Will Gi-hun actually become a rebel, a fighter, or will he just get sucked into the darkness of it all? And what about player 001? What's his deal? Is he just a bored rich guy, or is there something more sinister going on?
And what about that recruiter? The one who first brought Gi-hun into this whole mess. Is he working alone, or is there some secret organization behind him?
It's like a puzzle we're all trying to solve. Every episode gives us a few more pieces, but we still don't have the full picture.
And that's the fun part, isn't it? We're trying to outsmart the writers, figure out what's going to happen before it does. We're not just watching, we're playing along.
It's like our brains are engaged in a giant game of Squid Game, too. But, it makes you think about the role we, the audience, play in all of this.
Yeah, for sure.
It's our reactions, our interpretations, our feelings that make the story come alive. We're not just passively watching, we're adding to it,
You're part of it, really.
That's why Squid Game is so fascinating. It's like this mirror showing us our anxieties, our dreams, our fears about the world. It's personal and universal at the same time.
Exactly.
So, as we wait for Season 3, which feels like forever, let's keep these conversations going. Let's share theories, debate the symbolism, and just, stay curious.
The best stories, the ones that stick with us, they don't just entertain. They make us think. They challenge what we believe.
Right. Squid Game, it might be fictional, but the questions it asks, they're very real.
And the answers. Well, we have to figure those out for ourselves.
So the game's not over, everyone. Keep those theories coming. And we'll be back soon with another deep dive into, who knows what fascinating topic.
We'll see where our curiosity takes us next.
Until then, stay sharp, stay engaged, and as always, may the odds be ever in your favor.
Well, that's a wrap on today's episode of the Deep Dive podcast. What do you think? Did Squid Game Season 2 meet your expectations, or did it fall short? We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Yes, let us know what you think of the series, and feel free to share any thoughts or predictions for Season 3. We love hearing from our listeners.
And before we go, we just want to take a moment to wish each and every one of you a Happy New Year 2025. May this new year bring joy, success, and plenty of amazing content to keep you entertained.
Cheers to a fantastic 2025 ahead. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back soon with more deep dives.
See you next time.
See you next time, and have a wonderful start to the new year.